In that world of life, there are two extremes, one of good, the other of evil. So, there are some who subscribe to the forces of good and some the opposite. But each group goes to its extreme. Having described the good ones, now he turns to the others. Oh, to the truth of darkness they subscribe. Mark the words, truth of darkness. Even darkness has a truth behind it. Both light and darkness have their respective truths. Without some purpose, some justifying truth, they wouldn't be allowed to exist in this creation of God. Whether for heaven or hell, they must wage war. That is, they can't quietly subscribe and become practitioners of the truth of heaven or the truth of hell. They have to wage war. That is, they want to impose it upon others. They want to push it to the farthest extreme. Warriors of good, they serve a shining cause, obviously, or are evil soldiers in the pay of sin. The wages that they get for serving the cause of evil, naturally, is sin. But all are warriors. For evil and good, an equal tenure keep. That is, both evil and good have an equal claim on all the beings and forces that populate this world of greater life. Wherever knowledge is ignorance twin, where knowledge is always accompanied by ignorance, there evil and good have an equal claim on the loyalty of people. All powers of life towards their Godhead tend. Godhead means the highest ideal. So, a good power of life will tend towards the good, the best, and an evil power will turn to its utmost evil. All powers of life towards their Godhead tend in the wideness and daring of that air, because that air is not very tranquil. It is not a constricted area, but wide, daring, challenging. So it always excites everybody's battling instincts, adventurous spirit. In the wideness and daring of that air, each builds its temple and expands its cult. Those who believe themselves to be good erect a temple for their doctrine. Similarly, the evil ones also erect a church to proclaim their own doctrine and expand its cult. They are not satisfied with the practicing it themselves, but they want to enlarge, they want to expand its cult. And sin too, there is a divinity. It is a divinity in the sense that the beings worship it. If they worship the good, if they worship the right, they equally worship the sin and the wrong. Affirming the beauty and splendor of her law, this life power, it has a beauty of her own, it has a splendor of her law. She affirms in every situation. She claims life as her natural domain. Wherever there is life, she wants to exert herself, affirm herself, assumes the world's throne or dons the papal robe. Life power, by affirming its own beauty and splendor, appropriating all life for its own affirmation, she assumes the world's throne. She becomes the king or the emperor of the world, or dons the papal robe. You know, the Pope is the highest authority in the Christian religion. So the life power dons the papal robe, that is, it assumes sovereignty over the heart of people. Her worshippers proclaim her sacred right, and those who are adherents of this life force proclaim her sacred right to be so. A red tear-red falsehood they revere. Those who follow the course of evil, they revere, they worship falsehood, who is putting on a red crown. Worship the shadow of a crooked God. Crooked God, a God who has forsaken his true dharma and is pursuing a perverse line. Worship the shadow of a crooked God, admit the black idea that twists the brain. They admit not the right idea, but the black idea. And what does that idea do? It twists the brain. So here are certain negative hints by Sri Aurobindo that we have to be very careful as to what idea we admit in our brain. Because a wrong idea, a black idea, has the capacity to twist the brain, or lie with harlot power that slays the soul. Or there is a power of evil which tempts everybody, which is available to everybody, but that power slays the soul. So he who lies with that power, accepts that power as his companion, opens himself to that danger of the murder of his soul. A mastering virtue statuesques the pose. So even virtue, masterful virtue, which claims lordship, stands stationary, stands like a statue. Or because virtue yields a certain self-satisfaction. Sri Aurobindo speaks of prisoners of virtue. A person who starts practicing a virtue ultimately looks upon it as his God, is content to practice that virtue and stay put. He doesn't move forward. He doesn't progress. He becomes a prisoner of his virtue. So he says, in this world, a mastering virtue statuesques the pose, stands as a statue, or a titan passion goes to a proud unrest. There is a titanic passion which urges and goes to a proud unrest. Not an underground unrest, but a bold, expressive unrest. At wisdom's altar, they are kings and priests, all these beings who follow the good and the evil, or their life as sacrifice to an idol of power. The good ones are worshippers at the altar of wisdom. The bad ones offer their life as a sacrifice to an idol of power. The ideology of power, strength, claims the sacrifice of many. Oh, beauty shines on them like a wandering star. We spoke of wisdom, we spoke of power, and now we speak of beauty. Beauty shines on them like a wandering star, too far to reach. The star is beautiful, but too far to reach. Passionate, they follow her light, and yet it is so fascinating that however far the star is, these people follow passionately her light wherever it leads. In art and life, they catch the all beautiful's ray. God is the beautiful, a ray of Him. These people catch who follow the lines of beauty. They catch it in art, they catch it in life, and make the world their radiant treasure house. Because they adore beauty, they adhere to the standards of beauty, their whole world becomes radiant, a treasure house of the rays of beauty. And in this reign of beauty, even common figures are with marvel robed. Things may be very common, but they are robed with the marvel. Marvel means they look marvelous. A single tint of beauty makes the commonest thing rich with beauty. And the fact that such common things can look so beautiful is a marvel indeed. And further, a charm and greatness locked in every hour, that is, every hour of time is full of charm, full of greatness. And this fact awakes the joy which sleeps in all things made, in all things that are made and found in the world of life. This charm and greatness awakes the joy which is always asleep in things that are made. A mighty victory or a mighty fall, there is no balance there. There is nothing like a golden mean. It has to be either a mighty victory or a mighty fall, a throne in heaven or a pit in hell. Either one rises to occupy a throne in heaven, or one falls down into a pit in hell. In all these, the dual energy they have justified. The energy is dual, good and bad, positive and negative, pleasant and unpleasant. Now these denizens or beings of the life world justify the duality of this energy by enjoying it, pushing it to its farthest ends, and marked their souls with a tremendous seal. Their souls are stamped with the tremendous seal of this dual energy. That is, everyone carries the possibility of good and evil, good or evil. Whatever fate may do to them, they have earned. Whatever fate may appear to do, actually they have earned it. Something they have done, something they have been, they live. Everything is a result of their own doing, result of their own choice, a deliberate choice. Then we have a very beautiful passage. The poet says, their matter is soul's result and not its cause. In our earth world, it looks as if the soul is a product of material energy. At least till the other day, the scientists used to say that mind is a product of matter, and what they call soul is some result of the action of glands. So matter is dominant, matter is the sole truth, everything else is its consequence. But there, in that subtle world, matter is the soul's result and not its cause. That is, matter, there is not this matter there is the subtle matter, is a result of the soul. It is a result of the consciousness. Obvious. And further, in a contrary balance to earth's truth of things, the gross weighs less, the subtle counts for more. In the truth of things that obtains on earth, always the gross weighs more. What is light, what is subtle weighs less. But he says there, in a contrary balance, the gross weighs less, the subtle counts for more. On inner values hangs the outer plan. On earth, it is the outer circumstances, the outer patterns that determines our thinking, our feelings, our life plan. A rich surroundings evoke one plan, poor drab surroundings evoke some other plan of life. But there, he says, on inner values hangs the outer plan. As quivers with thought the expressive word, a word which is not just a word, but a word pregnant with meaning, a word trying to express some wisdom, as it vibrates with thought, as yearns the act with the passion of the soul, as a dynamic act, always wants to achieve something with the intensity, with the passion of the soul, not of the vital. This world's apparent sensible design, the outward design which is seen by the senses of that world, looks vibrant back to some interior might, with all its splendor, with all its beauty and power. This sensible life world points back to some interior might. It doesn't affirm its own reality, but it points to something within that accounts for all its glory, for all its achievement. So in this paragraph, Sri Aurobindo draws the distinction between what obtains on earth and what obtains on the subtler levels. As we grow in consciousness, as we shed our earthiness and put on more and more of the character of a purer and a subtler consciousness, this is what happens. In our consciousness at that level, the gross weighs less. The inner values determine the outer plan. The whole thrust of life undergoes a radical change. And this is his way of putting before us what should happen before our quality of life changes from the gross to the subtle. Oh, to the truth of darkness they subscribe, whether for heaven or hell they must wage war. Warriors of good, they serve a shining cause, or are evil soldiers in the pay of sin. For evil and good an equal tenure keep, wherever knowledge is ignorance twin. All powers of life towards their Godhead tend, in the wideness and daring of that air, each builds its temple and expands its cult. And sin too, there is a divinity, affirming the beauty and splendor of her law. She claims life as her natural domain, assumes the world's throne, or dons the papal robe. Her worshippers proclaim her sacred right. Arrayed falsehood they reverse, worship the shadow of a crooked god, admit the black idea that twists the brain, or lie with the harlot power that slays the soul. A mastering virtue statuesques the pose, or a titan passion goes to a proud unrest. At wisdom's altar they are kings and priests, or their life and sacrifice to an idol of power. Or beauty shines on them like a wandering star, too far to reach. Passionate they follow her light. In art and life they catch the old beautiful's ray and make the world their radiant treasure house. Even common figures are with marvel robed. A charm and greatness locked in every hour awakes the joy which sleeps in all things made. A mighty victory or a mighty fall, a throne in heaven or a pit in hell, the dual energy they have justified and marked their souls with a tremendous seal. Whatever fate may do to them, they have earned. Something they have done, something they have been, they live. Their matter is soul's result and not its cause. In a contrary balance to earth's truth of things, the gross weighs less, the subtle counts for more. On inner values hangs the outer plan. As quivers with thought the expressive word, as yearns the act with the passion of the soul, this world's apparent sensible design looks vibrant back to some interior might.